What's up guys, Shawnthebro here, and today we're going to be doing some more of the Twitch game that we're making, the live stream of the side-scroller game. Yeah, I think that's a strong enough intro. You guys know me, I like to come up with some crazy intro every time, but I think that was solid. So anyway, we're going to get started today. The camera's a little bit more zoomed out, so let me know if you have a preference over this one or the other one. And let's go ahead and just begin. Let me make sure the audio is good. With YouTube, I can't test it like I can Twitch. I actually had to test it live. You guys know me, I like to come up with some crazy intro every time, but I think that's solid. Okay. So. Sorry, that probably went right back into the mic, but I think that's good. I will turn the music up just a little bit for you, so that there is a little bit more background noise. Let me know if it's too loud or still too quiet, and we'll go ahead and get started. That way you're not getting streamception. So you should be seeing Unreal now. I will also confirm this, and once I can confirm you're seeing that, we'll go ahead and get started with the actual tutorial. Okay, it looks good. Grab a second drink there, and let's get started. So, this is part 4 of a however many part series. We have not established exactly what our end goal is or how long we want to work on this, but you know, we do the gaming live streams and they're a lot of fun, so I wanted to start doing a programming live stream, since programming is, you know, it's a large part of my life. It's what I work, it's what I do for work, it's what I do for pleasure a lot of the time, and I figured why not get started with it, why not do some streaming on a game. And we started making a side scroller, so I'll kind of show you where we got to. We're working on kind of basically random mechanics. We don't have necessarily an end goal at the moment. But we were making one kind of like Mario, where if you are to jump on an enemy, and the enemy has a specific number of health, so it's actually, if you jump on him 3 times, I gave him a second of invincibility frames, not because that's how a normal game should run, just because we were going over that topic. I have an invincibility power up here, where if I were to collect that and run into the enemy, he would get destroyed. That's like a star in Mario. I have pushable objects that we can use for level design. I have this boulder that I can actually use to crush enemies with. It can also be used to damage the player. Oops. So if we were to launch this at him, and as long as it's above a certain speed, it can kill him. We can also make our damage dependent on the speed, as opposed to a flat rate. We have this object here that we can pick up that is a coin, essentially, and it updates our HUD in the top right corner of the screen here. That says 1 now, because we've collected 1. And we have this teleporter, where we can go ahead and teleport to a different location when we touch the teleporter. The teleporters are linked together. And once we hit this little block right here, this is like a finish level block. So we hit this, and it will actually bring us to the next level. Now the next level is the same exact level, but with a water floor, because I duplicated it, and that's all I had time for at the moment. So that's as far as we got. If you see me looking down here a lot, that's me looking at my phone to see the chat. I do have a screen where I can see the chat on my computer, but I don't typically use that while I'm programming. In fact, I use it for Unreal, and so I won't really be able to use it for the chat unless I kept it open. That's why you can see me kind of using this instead. That's the recap of everything we've done, and yeah, we're gonna get started today. I just kind of wrote up some random things in the description of this video for what we want to go for. So I kind of want to go for updates to the HUD, so maybe just showcasing our health to the HUD, how many hits we can take, you know, perhaps something else, kill count, whatever. I also want to go over kind of some puzzle mechanics possibly, and I don't necessarily mean how to create a puzzle, but more like, okay, how can we do things that would be involved in a puzzle? So specifically, like if we have an item that we need to pick up to open this door, like a key, or if we have these movable objects that we have to arrange in a certain pattern. For a side scroller, you know, it doesn't happen all that time, but I think it would be a fun thing to explore, and this series is really, it's not about making the side scroller, it's about exploring, and it's about making fun things and learning kind of how they're made, because a lot of these things I've never made before. Like, I've never made a teleporter before. It wasn't bad, it only took us a few minutes, but we didn't do it, and now we have. Now we know for sure a working method to do it. We know some complications from it, and these are the important things. I apologize, my throat is very dry. I must have slept with my mouth open. So I'll probably be drinking a lot this episode. But anyway, so yeah, you can see kind of the point of this series and what we can do. So those two things. And the other thing I wanted to do, I actually forget what I had said. Let me look at the description on my video, because I did think about it. Oh, the character modifiers, right. So the character modifiers are specifically, like, we can change the movement speed and other things. Like, we already changed the jump height and the gravity, and that's good. I mean, those are easy things to change within Unreal, but I think changing the move speed, perhaps slipping, like if you're running one direction, how long does it take for you to lose all that momentum in that direction before you can turn around and start going the other way? We can explore all that. Okay, let's do it. First things first, let's actually just update our HUD. It's a pretty simple thing to do, but I think we should do it because it will look nicer. I have our character HUD here, and all it has right now is the coin counter with a binding to the number of coins that the character has. Now this is good, nothing wrong with this, but you know, especially if we have a game with health, we should definitely showcase our health some way. I don't actually have an image that I can use. I could go and get one. Actually, I think I do have a free hearts image. Excuse me, I had a hair in my mouth. I think I have a free use heart image. Pushable objects. Can we use the same logic to push away the opponent in fighting games? Sort of. So yeah, actually, I'm funny that you mentioned that. So I am a few episodes ahead in the fighting game. I do that so that I can have a little bit of buffer for some of the more difficult concepts. Like, for example, I've been working on AI for about 2 months at the moment, and it's still nowhere near a state where I feel comfortable enough to make a tutorial on it. I want to make sure I'm giving everybody correct information. So, can we use it? Yes, you actually can use the way we push boulders to push characters. However, it uses Unreal's physics system, and if we use that, you don't necessarily want to make the body work off of physics in a fighting game. So it would probably be better to actually force push the objects away when they're within a certain, either when their hurt boxes collide or something like that. It's actually not too bad. There's a specific way I know that Killer Instinct does it, actually, that we are going to implement for pushing the characters. But thanks for asking. Hey, nice to see you, by the way. Thanks for coming to the stream. I'm very happy to see you, and I think we'll have some fun tonight. I think this will be a cool one. I always enjoy doing the live coding sessions. I apologize. Just really, I'm talking a lot, so I need to drink a lot. Let's go ahead and add a little HUD here. So, something like a HUD for a side scroller, if you have like a specific amount of life, not a progress bar, like a health bar, but specifically like you want 5 hearts. Now, it's not too bad. You can do it a few different ways. The best way, if we're being honest, is probably to put them in some sort of container, and then you can add and deplete from that container as necessary. However, if you are working on a game where you don't need modifiable health, like you only have 1 heart or you only have 3 hearts, and you want to showcase that, you can go ahead and just make a HUD with that set number of hearts. We want to keep it as open as possible, being game developers. Notice this is a little low, actually. Is that good? Yeah, it's a little bit better. I saw my head was kind of going off the screen just because I was setting forward, but that looks a little bit better. So yeah, being a game developer, or being a software engineer in general, if you're not given a certain direction that you have to go with, or if you're doing everything, you're coming up with the concept and making the game, you want to keep yourself open to any ideas that you may want to implement down the line. Cutting them off early will hurt you. Case in point. So I want to do multiplayer in the fighting game, and I knew that from the beginning, and this was a strategic decision because when you're trying to take someone who's never coded before and help them make a fighting game, and kind of release them on their own. Say, hey, this is how I did it. This is how you can do it. You don't want to just jump into like rollback netcode. If you do that, not only will pretty much no one actually be able to complete it, not to a fault of their own. You can only expect so much out of someone. Like, they can't learn everything all at once, right? That's not how our brains work. And so, case in point, that was a strategic decision. But now I have to go back and make changes to the way we set up and the way we spawn our characters. And it's going to be a little gross. Dude, YouTube unsubscribed me from almost everyone I was subbed to. Really? I wonder why. I have seen that before. I've actually heard that before. Someone in the Discord said the same thing. They said they were unsubbed to me, and they don't know why. They swear they didn't do it. And I mean, they resubscribed. It wasn't like I was threatening them, like, how dare you unsub to me? No, it wasn't like that. So I think they were being honest. So I guess on YouTube just unsubscribes people sometimes. God knows why. He may be the only one, but he does know. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually have let's get rid of this garbage right here. Let's not do that. Let's keep our options open. So to make a health bar, you know, represented by images like 3 hearts, 4 hearts, 5 hearts, what we should do, the best way to do it, to be able to modify it, is to have actually some sort of box, and quite literally, like a horizontal box. And let me show you what this does. We can add this to the canvas panel. Yeah, resub. Yeah, you better resub, Dave. You of all people are obligated to sub. You know, everyone else, you make your own decision. Dave, come on. If you were not going to resub, that would hurt. Also, Dave, did I see you were streaming? I'm not clicked in, so I apologize. I did not realize until it was too late. And I apologize for drinking every 10 seconds as well. Again, I'm having a rough day, all right? So, horizontal box. Let me explain some stuff about the horizontal box, or the vertical box. They're really the same thing. Of course, their difference is the name and the direction based off the name. So, to name this, let's call it health. Not vertical box, that'd be confusing. Health horizontal box. Just to keep it simplistic. Now, did you see how I kind of went into like a comatose state and my eyes were shut? It was almost like meditation, actually. That was me trying to name a variable. You'll find out the more you code, the more you program, the harder it is to name variables. I don't know what it is. It gets harder and harder every time. All right. Sorry. We're getting a little bit distracted. So let's put this where we want it. Now, we'll go over anchors and stuff later. But for now, yeah, that's great. How about that? We can resize it here as much as we want as well. So I'll probably make it like this. That's probably a good size for hearts. So here's our health horizontal box. And what we want to do is have an object that we can fill this box up with, and that they will become, you know, we can either shrink them if we have more and we want to fit in that space, or we can just add to that space in a given direction. Either way will work. The first thing we need to do is actually add an asset for this. And I do have an asset I could import. Trying to think. Give me 1 second. Let me think if... Alright, you know what? Let me do... We're not actually being right back. Let's see this intermission. Can you see my screen? You cannot see my screen. Okay, give me 1 second. I have to get used to the intermission stuff, but... What I'm going to do is go import this file. I can show you how to import a file if anyone wants, but I'd rather not show this off because it does have some personal information here, and it has some spoilers actually for the fighting game. And I kind of like to keep everything a little bit secret when I can. Okay, you ready? Let's go back to the live screen. Now, I have this heart icon that I've added that is a free use icon. And what I can do is I'm going to make a folder, call it art, and drag this into it. Then I can save this. I can also make a material out of it. I don't need to make a material for the UI, but sometimes you will want to anyway, because the quality can be preserved a little bit better. For now, what we're going to do is actually just leave it alone, and we're not going to do anything here. We don't need to do this logic in the HUD. We want to make a new widget, and I'm going to make a folder for widgets since we're starting to make these now. We'll put our character HUD in there. And then we're going to want a new one, though. Add new widget blueprint. Heart icon widgets. Actually, we can probably just call it health widget. I think that'll be good. And now if we go into health widget over here, we can actually add an image at the top left at the origin here. We'll call this heart image, and we can make it the heart icon that we put in. We're going to size it to the content, which we may not want later. Is it really that big? Wow. So never mind, we don't even want that now. That is huge. Let's not size the content, but let's make this 128 by 124. Weird. Okay, so anyway, now we can size the content, and you can see the difference here. You can see that it's a little bit smaller. It's actually still huge. I'm just going to make it a generic value. It's not going to necessarily scale perfectly. It's too big. 80 by 80. Okay, that's probably good. I mean, we don't want it to be too large. This is going to be displayed constantly on our screen. Anyway, it can be left here. And now we have this widget that is literally just this heart icon. Okay, there we go. And what we can do is, it's going to bother me if they're not lined up. I should look. 28. 28. We can use any of those methods. So we got our health horizontal box here, and we've created one. So let's make our horizontal box a variable. Grab the horizontal box. Then we can go ahead and I think you call add on this. It has been a while. I'm trying to think. Add child is what it is. And then we should be able to add any type of widget to it, as long as the horizontal box can support it. There will be widgets that can't support it based on dependencies and things like that, but it should be able to open an image without issue. And now you can see we have a heart in the top left of our screen to indicate our health. Now obviously it doesn't do anything yet. It's there arbitrarily because we know that we have health, but we can make it to where it's actually indicative of what's going to happen. Now, first of all, sure, this is great, but what we really want to do is define how many hearts we want. So like if we add more than one of this, then it will actually populate the horizontal box. And we can configure things in the horizontal box to show how they will show up. Or to change how they show up, excuse me. Now, in event construct for your character HUD, if we had a health variable, which we do on the character, let me see what it's called because it has been a while. It's probably just health. Excuse me. Okay, so we got our health variable here, and it's not U property, so we're going to go ahead and have to make it U property for this, and we can build a solution. Now, the health can be determined from a few different things. It could be determined by your difficulty, could be determined by personal settings, armor, equipment, things like that. This is just a side scroller, so the assumption would be that your health would be just determined by your damage that you've taken and how much you've healed, as opposed to any other outside stats, and that's how we're going to be treating this. So we've got health here, and that's great. By default, health is, I believe, 3. If we go take a quick look, health is 3. So if health is 3, we can either grab our player, which isn't the best way to do it at all, but it's not terrible. We can either get player character 0 and cast it, or what we could actually do is get all actors of class with the filter that we want, which would be Twitch game character. Now, the downside of this would be if you only had if you had a bunch of actors of this type, and you get to find the specific one, or if you're doing multiplayer. But if we're doing multiplayer, we will actually change the way we do this as well. So I'm just gonna assume we're doing single player for this section. Make sure it's valid. That is a good point. You're absolutely correct. We do want to make sure it's valid. And in fact, just for you, I will do that. You're completely correct. So yeah, this method in particular is not the best way, but it's not really being lazy, because we're going to, if we want to turn this into a multiplayer game, we're not going to use get player controller. We're going to have essentially an array of players that get started and spawned when the characters join in, whether it be on the controller or on the keyboard, even if they just press a certain button or whatever. It could be online networking. But the fact of the matter is, this is going to have to change one way or another. So I'm going to do it as if it's single player, the easiest and most efficient way. We're going to get a copy at 0. And what we can do is, sorry, I just had to think, cast to, oh, my fault. I did not realize that when I did that. Wait, really? They must have changed that, because before that was a big issue. You would put the actor class in, or am I thinking of only the get 0? It might have been on the get 0, actually. I think I'm thinking of the wrong thing that was causing issues with that. So either way, we can do this and just use it as is. Now this could be the owner as well. Like if we want to do it that way, we'd get the controller that owns this character and make it work. And that's actually perfectly logical for a multiplayer. Now, Anima Mundi, you are correct, my friend. Very good call. We do need to make sure that it is valid, and we also do need to look at a few other things. So give me 1 second to kind of think of how I want to plan this out. This part's easy, the actual getting the hearts on there and updating that, but in terms of the damage and index. So health, it's going to start at 0 and work its way up, just like normal. Mark says, "Hi, Sean. Hey, nice to see you. How are things going, my friend? Thank you for coming to the stream." We're currently working on updating the HUD to display little hearts to it to showcase our health, which I just realized I disconnected it so you won't see it, but we want to loop through and add for each child. So you can see with the health that I have, because I'm pretty sure it's set to a solid 3, then it's going to loop through and put that many hearts. So we got 4 hearts now. And there you go. That other level needs reflection captures built. But now you can see that we have 4 hearts. So this is an easy way to change how many hearts you have if you're doing like an image-based thing, as opposed to doing, you know, here's this heart, and heart 4 is invisible, but heart 3 isn't. You know, it's an easy way to fix that and make it so you can change it on the fly. It can be functional, and you know exactly how many you're gonna have. Excuse me, without adjusting anything on the art itself or the asset itself. Okay, and now that we've done that, I want to actually space this out a little bit. So you can see they were all right up next to each other, which is okay. It doesn't look terrible, but we can make it look better for sure. We can... I have to find out exactly where it's at. I wonder, is it done on the object itself that's within this? It's been a while since I've done it. There is a way to space them out evenly. I feel like it's got to be in the horizontal box, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it's in each child. Could be. That's what it's looking like. Okay. Well, we can still do it. I did not remember it being there. Let's see real quick. Panel slot. So this is the panel slot that's at. Is this where we can set like padding? Is that true? Maybe not. Huh. Okay. It's not a big deal. I was gonna do it because I thought it would look nice, but I don't want to waste too much time on something like that. That's not the point of today's episode. First things first, I actually want to change my health and make it 2 since we're starting at 0. And that way we can have 3 hearts instead of 4 hearts. Just because I think 3 is a better number. You know, kind of rule of 3s and things like that. Okay. Now we can compile this. And we should see the difference pretty much immediately once it compiles. There you go, we've got 3 hearts now. See how easy that is to actually adjust? Cool. Alright. That's done. Now let's make it showcase how much health we have. So we spawned them on construct here, just to kind of get them there and show what we've got. But we need to make sure they update. So say we get hit and we lose a heart. We need to display that in some way that the user will know. There is a method we could use where we just change the texture out. We could make it invisible. We could actually destroy it if we wanted, but I don't think that gets us any actual benefit. But yeah, we could either make it invisible or switch it to a different texture. Now, either way works. Because I don't have another texture of like a broken heart or like a grayed out heart, I'm just going to make it invisible. And the easiest way to do this, I think, is we compare the health that the player has to how much damage they've taken since, you know, or how much health they had with the damage they last took. Subtract 1 and just update the icons. And so to do that, the easiest way, in my opinion, is to go into C++, have an event we can call in Blueprint, or excuse me, have an event we can call in code that activates in Blueprint. And if we do that, we should be able to simply update the texture every time we take damage. And if we heal at any point, we can call it the same function, but pass in a different value. Let's do it. End star state, we can do... I'm sorry. I don't mean to be yawning so much. I have been working quite late, and I am just very tired. Blueprint implementable event. And we don't need to return anything, but we can do like update health icons, I guess would work. And I know blueprint implementable events don't really like, I don't think they like when you pass things into them. You can get around it, but off the bat they don't. However, I don't think we really need to ever decrease the health icons by, you know, more than one based off the logic we were just talking about. We definitely can implement that. For now, let's just get it working to where we can see it, and then we can add that after as long as we got time. So I'll leave it as update health icons, and then when we take damage, I will call the function. So if we can do it when we're dying too, either way really. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do it after. I think that'll look the best graphically. If we end up changing the texture, at which point we want to call it. It should be after we kind of made the decision if they're dying or not. Let's go ahead and do that. So update, what did I call it? Health icons? Yep. And we're going to call that here when we've taken damage. We can build this and wait for this to be able to get to Unreal. And try not to fall asleep in the meantime because I'm exhausted and the time is going to take a little while to compile here. Okay. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. David messaged me on Discord. Thank you. Okay. So the character HUD is where we're at, right? I guess we could do it on the health widget as well. If we do it within the character, we can call it on the health widget. And we'll just set it to be invisible. So let's make an event in here. Let's add a custom event called... Let's call this one just hide heart. I think that's good enough. I think that's generic enough for what we need, but specific enough for what we need at the same time. It is a hard mix to find. And what we need to do is we'll call this event based on the heart widget that is spawned. We will call it based on how much health he has, or health the character has. So it'll go character to either HUD or just some reference to how much, what health item needs to go down next, and then we can go ahead and hide the proper heart. And I think the easiest way to shortcut that is to actually just have an integer on here. And we can see, excuse me, I cannot stop yawning today. We can see here that if we pass in a parameter to this function, we could use it to determine what heart we want to hide. get all children. That's what it is. And now we can get all of the children of the horizontal box, which at this level, getting all the children, if we pull up this array element, we're going to be grabbing the health widget instances, which means we can actually, in our case, just set the widget to be invisible as opposed to, you know, replacing the asset, like if we actually had a different asset to replace it with. Now, the only other thing we need to do is check how much health the character has and determine which one should be visible and which one should not. Since we do have the ability to loop here, we could just kind of loop through and check, but there's no real need to do that, I guess. I'm trying to think if you get any sort of benefits out of using that method. So if you loop through them, yeah, I don't see any reason. Nothing comes to the top of my head as a good reason for why we'd need to do that. I think the best way, or I guess the easiest way, is to just grab the health that we have. We can actually compare it to the array index and then determine if we should have it. Remember, these line up exactly, so having a health of 2 means you should have hearts 0, 1, and 2. So we can do a comparison here. I'm trying to make this not ugly for you guys. If health is greater than equal to this. So what we should do is actually do the opposite, since our event is to hide them. Let's do less than that. And we can do a branch. So if our health is less than this index value, we know that that one should be invisible. And yeah, we want to do all that on tech. Great, the one enemy I put next to the star, so that I have to kill him if I run into him with it. Everglade says, "Hey all, hey, nice to see you." Very happy to see you. My apologies in advance. I am exhausted today. And yeah, it's giving me errors about the character because I compiled, and it doesn't like when you compile. I am very tired from work, and I'm so glad it's Friday. Also, on top of it, my throat was giving me issues. It was very dry, so I had to drink a lot of water very early on in the stream. We're just having a heck of a time, but I'm glad you're here. That will make things better. Okay, I kind of don't want to use this. I mean, you can see it happen there, but I need to put another enemy in that's a little bit more dangerous to me, and kind of only to me. What I'll do is I'll actually just move this back so that we don't have to pick up the invincibility power-up. So we can run into him and we can actually lose a heart. You see that? Now, it doesn't do it on die. If it's less than that, let me see. It's the same, so if it's less than 2, 1. Oh, but it won't take it and go below 0. So I do need to either compare it and then check, or I still need to subtract the health here and let it go to -1. Or we could clamp it and use those values like Animal Mundi had suggested. I think as far as this series goes, yeah, I think as far as this series goes, I want to let the health go negative. I will explain that in more depth a lot later, why I want to do that. I'll comment this out for now. And I'll even say, stop the health from going negative. But I have an idea that we can utilize. Let's build this. I also need to update my computer. Can you guys see my... No, you can just see my window. I do need to update my computer. Give me 1 second. I'm going to actually stand up and grab this. had to reposition that and move it over. I wanted to see if you could see it in the camera. So I was looking over. I'll see if you can see it in the camera when I'm standing up on the stream. You could not. You could just see me over there, like looking. If you could see it, okay. It's. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but we have a new prop that we can use for when we screw something up or when we get defeated if we're playing a game, and it's pretty funny. I'm very, very excited to use it. We haven't used it yet, and I want to show it off. So maybe we'll get to that soon. But anyway, back to this for now. Let me actually sit right in front of my computer. So this is to stop the health from going negative, but in this case we don't really need to do that. We just need to make sure that we actually take away the health and call the die function. Let's compile this. And let's play. And at this point I believe we will lose all of our health unless I screwed up something. It's possible I screwed up something, but I will say earlier, if it's less than 0. Oh, hold on. Yeah, weird. So let me show you something. This is what was happening earlier. And by earlier I actually mean last stream, so I don't know what I'm saying earlier. Where my changes weren't actually being accurately reflected until I closed it. I got stuck on it for about 20 minutes last time, and it happened the time before that too. I will not fall for this 3 times in a row. Before if we make sure our logic is actually broken or not. Excuse me, I can't talk right now. Okay, our logic is actually broken. That's perfectly fine. I want to be very much aware of that. So let me do this first of all. Oops. That comment can stay. Okay. Put it there. If we're gonna leave it, that just makes more sense to me. Oh, hold on. Alright, so we have if health is minus damage amount, or minus damage amount is greater than or equal to 0, health equals 0. Or no, sorry. If it's less than 0, it equals 0. If it's greater than or equal to 0, then this logic is going to go to else, where you subtract it, and then update health icons, which update... Oh, yeah, okay. Got you. See, sometimes you got to walk through to see your own error. That's something that never gets tiring when you're a software engineer. You're always like, come on. Like, this should be easy. This shouldn't be too hard. And then you have to walk through it to kind of see the issue. So I'm pretty sure I know what the issue is. But first of all, we can do a quick test. I can show you another way we can debug an issue like this. First of all, since I had to open it with the editor, my stuff is closed. Go to this. And, okay, so we have this here by default. We weren't ever calling hide heart. We were actually just calling... we're actually just setting the invisibility, or the visibility there to be hidden and invisible. But first of all, what we should do is actually call hide heart here. We need it to be a health widget to be able to call that event. And for that we need to perform this cast here. Good enough. And then we can hide heart. Then hide heart needs to set the image to be hidden. Straighten that. And there we go. We can mark this as hidden. And the issue will still pop up, but I want to make sure that the hearts are good using this new method. Oops, I accidentally picked up invincibility and killed that guy. Yeah, so it is still broken, but the hearts work, which is what I wanted. So now, okay, here's what I'm pretty sure the issue is. So here our logic is we're calling update health icons, and this should be printed every time, whether they are dead or not. But we are checking to see if the array index is less than the health amount, which at 0 they're going to be equal to. Right, so you check 1 and you check if 1 is less than that. You check 0, you check if 0 is less than that. Then you subtract the health, but I wasn't subtracting the child. The child is always going to be 0. What we can do is see if health is greater than it, and then display it. We can also go ahead and just always add 1 to it, and that should work too. There's a lot of different options we have here, but let me show you kind of how we can prove this, because I like to do kind of a little bit of debugging where you can see what's going on. So we can do print string here at the start, and this will determine however many times this prints will determine how many times this event is called. We won't worry about anything else. We just want to look at it and say, okay, so how many times is this called? It's called once when we collide the first time, once when we collide the second time, and it wasn't called when we did it the third time. So now we say, okay, I know what my issue is. My issue is health minus damage amount is not less than 0 at this point. Or excuse me, not that it's not less than 0. It's just that this isn't getting called, and the reason for it almost definitely is because of this extra logic that makes it to where after you get hit, you actually take a little bit of invincibility. So if you're getting hit when you are getting killed, it's going to override that, and we can go ahead and test that too before we just change it all willy-nilly. If we just put a log in here, we can put a log. We'll put 1 here, and we will say something simple, something generic. We will say character took damage. Then we can also put another one here, which is all the times it's going to get called afterward in this if statement. But I think looking at it, it'd probably be better to just put it in this next else, just to make sure, because we'll see that it's getting called, but then it can't actually do anything with it because it doesn't have enough values to work with. Again, the children are 0 to 2, and that is not the case for. It's not going to be able to be less than health because it's not going to ever go below 1, or excuse me, below 0. Okay, finished my last drink on that one. So, hopefully my throat decides it's going to not try and dry up on me. That'd be nice. And say character took damage, and we can actually again put this in the else just to make it a little bit cleaner here. And here is character needs icons updated. Excuse me, I am very sorry. Now we can build this, and I can show you in the output log. Oh yes, I will need to stop debugging. I can show you in the output log exactly why I came to the conclusion I did, assuming that this is the issue, which I believe it is. So we built, I will have to open this again. Let me see, does that show up? That does show up. Okay, cool. We are in business. Let's go on Twitch game again. Okay, and now if we go to, need this open. The health widget. And okay, we got everything back up. Now what we can do is open up the output log and play it. When we take damage, we should see the corresponding. Player's invincible, player's invincible, and then nothing. So that means we need to compile and wait for it, because it would be printing. There we go. Now we can go up to it, see the correct logs, hopefully. Oh, I accidentally picked up the power up. Really? There we go. So you can see, character took damage, character needs icons updated. Character took damage, character needs icons updated. Character took damage. You see that? And that's the important distinction here. So the character took damage, but they don't need their icons updated, or so we think. So it says. And that's why the health will, you know, once it goes below 0, you'll never be able to update it. Thus, we should add one to the health. We could clamp it, you're totally right, but clamping it actually will force it to be a value greater than that if we want it to be 0. So in that case, we don't want to. We could clamp it to check it, like you were saying. It's Sean. Hey, what's up? Nice to see you. Is that my boy Snatchin? Do I recognize a Snatchin in the chat? Thanks for coming by. I am exhausted. You can probably see it on my face, so I apologize for that. Thank you so much for coming over here on YouTube to check out the stream. That is awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay. Now, if I can get my thoughts together, because I am like brain dead at the moment. Oh yeah, so we added this here. The character needs icons updated. You'll notice, of course, this doesn't print when they die, which is good. But the problem with that is our health doesn't actually subtract from the damage amount. And now do you see the issue here? We have this being subtracted if we're going to subtract when we take damage. Hello there, Kava. It is I. It is so nice to see you. It is just so great to see you. And I read that in your voice. I mean, I didn't read it out loud in your voice, but in my mind, I read it in your voice. And I'm happy to see you. Thank you. Thank you. I've just been having a rough day. Nothing's wrong. Like, legitimately nothing's wrong. I just working and was tired, very tired, and then my throat was killing me. It wasn't hurting, it was just so dry. And now I'm streaming, which I love doing, but it's just hard on me with me being tired and having a dry throat with how much I talk. So thanks for coming by. It makes it a lot better. Let's go ahead and fix this, remedy this right now. There's two things we can do. We can either essentially still call the update health icons when we're dying and give it a lower value, or we can quite simply subtract the the damage amount from the health. Instead of doing health equals 0, instead of capping it at 0, we can allow it to go negative. Now, I don't have any issue with it going negative, so there's really no reason for me to do the former. We'll do the latter. And there we go. Now, regardless, we don't really want to do this twice, though. So the way you remedy this is to usually just subtract it. And if we're subtracting it from the start here, we can actually just check if health is less than 0. We don't need to check and see if the health minus the damage is less than 0 anymore, because we're not going to cap it at a negative value. Now, here is where, like Animamundi said, you can absolutely use a clamp, and you won't have to worry about the safety check of the if here. Although I don't think it will really hurt anything with the health going less than 0, because, you know, -1 is like your death health. You can use that actually as your state of, like, he's at a -1, he's dead. And then from there, you don't need to do any additional logic. Alright, so we built. Let's see if we can compile successfully. Or if Unreal hates us. Unreal often hates us. Okay, so play. And we'll go take damage. 1 down. I was gonna say, I removed this log. You guys saw me remove the logs. So I'm having the same issue where Unreal wants me to open it through Visual Studio. I don't know why it does that, but it really likes that. It really likes Visual Studio. The more time it can spend with it, the better. Okay, let's load this back up. Oh man, it's a tough night. Good thing is, we're almost done 2 out of 3 things that I wanted to go over, so we're doing quite well. Alright, here we go. So now we can hit this. You can see we lose a bar of health every time. Still did not remove it. Am I being silly here? If it's less than 0, so it has to be -1. So if it's -1... Wait. Oh yeah, I got rid of that. That's great. That's just what I wanted. Good old children, we loop through, we grab the array index starts at 0. If 0, oh, I was doing it if health is greater than it. You see that? No, health is less than it. Yeah, because, my bad, I mixed these up, I was thinking health was on. Okay, so yeah, if health is less than the array index, which it should be, I would think. Is it not calling update health icons at this point? Still, even after the change? Because if else, it should still call it here. That. Hi Sean, I see you're not on Twitch today. Hey, nice to see you. Yeah, so I've been alternating between Twitch and YouTube, just simply because, let's be honest, I want to do game development and some programming live streams, and while I actually prefer streaming on Twitch, the way to stream on YouTube is a little weird. While I like it, the more people who would probably be interested in it are on YouTube, so I've been trying to kind of, you know, go back and forth a little bit. It probably won't stay forever. I'll probably pick one platform and just kind of hang out on it for each. So we'll still be doing Dark Souls on Wednesdays, minimum. No questions asked on that. But I'm debating if I want to change the days for the other game we play on the Souls, or excuse me, on the Twitch stream. Because I have a feeling I'll do more games, but I kind of want to do some game dev, some live streaming on here. And that's about it. I apologize. I'm very tired today. So I keep saying it, so the people in here will be like, yeah, you're being redundant, but I'm just letting you know. If I'm touching my face a lot, if my eyes are shutting a lot, my body is trying to fall asleep. And don't worry, I will be okay, by the way. Nothing's wrong. I just had some busy days at work, and it's Friday, so I'm going to catch up on some sleep, and it's going to be excellent. But thank you so much for coming by. Really, it makes all the difference in the world to have you guys here. and I'm really happy to be doing this. And if you're interested at all, great. If you're not, you know, no offense taken. It's perfectly fine. But thank you for coming by. It's great to see you. I see the stream is quite far behind. So yeah. Anyway, here we are. What did we do? So we made it to where the health, we now have a health bar, and the health bar actually renders hearts, and we can change how many hearts it is without hard coding, like heart 1, 2, and 3. Then we lose them, and you know, essentially we restart the level here or whatever. But that logic is done. Let me make sure that we've done everything I wanted to do in the character blueprint, because now we've gone over the HUD stuff that I wanted to go over. Hide heart, yeah. Oh, but I just want to stop by and say hi before I left to go run some errands and get some rest. Hey, hey, getting some rest. The running the errands part, you know, could be important depending on what errand, but getting rest is like S tier stuff to do, I will say. I took it for granted until today. I mean, I would like to say that I have not, but man, when you were tired and you're in that state, you're like, wow, I cannot wait to go to bed. Well, thanks for coming by, though. It is great to see you. No worries. Either way, but you stopping in makes a huge difference. So thank you. You can always stream on Twitch and upload it later on YouTube in some form. Maybe in part since I heard live streaming on YouTube can't mess up the algorithm. I appreciate that, actually. I appreciate that a lot. So live streaming on YouTube absolutely can mess up the algorithm. It will if it's not performing the same. So the problem would be mainly if I were to upload my programming videos on YouTube and then go stream a game on YouTube, where not the same audience would be coming in. The last live stream that we did, the very first one that we did on YouTube, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you, performed really well within the first week. It's not about the concurrent viewers, but actually it goes off of the same algorithm when you look at the analytics. So it should be okay. I'm not a YouTube expert, you know, I'm not Matt Pat over here, who I like and respect very much, but my point is I'm not over here like, you know, knowing everything about the algorithm. You saying that is actually really good to me, like it's very informative to me, so I'm not trying to shut that down. I don't think that it will hurt the algorithm. In fact, it has not seemed to from the last live stream. If it starts to dip down, then of course, you know, maybe I'll change it. As far as doing it on Twitch and uploading it. So actually that's kind of what I would prefer to do, and we might end up going that way because it would be a lot easier for me. Streaming on YouTube is a lot harder than streaming on Twitch, and it requires me to do a lot more work, which I'm happy to do the stream, but the live stream is not, it's genuinely not something I'm trying to make money off of or anything like that. So to do extra work for no other, you know, like, I'm not getting anything additional out of it that I'm getting out of Twitch, other than I reach out to people on YouTube. But when you're saying, you know, just upload it, well, I'm really not getting any better. So, yeah, I think your point is actually completely valid. I think what you're saying has a lot of weight to it, and I'm definitely going to be considering that. So, thank you. Seriously, thank you. I will... All the ones that are going on Twitch are getting uploaded to the Shawnthebro 27 YouTube channel. That channel is not monetized or anything, so you can go crazy, look at them ad-free if you're interested. I don't really advertise that channel all that much, just because I don't think a ton of people are interested in seeing my old gaming streams, but I am uploading the programming streams now, so if you are interested to go check them out on there, you can check them out. Now, if we start uploading them, if we start doing them on Twitch and uploading them to YouTube, they will be uploaded to my main channel. That way, they're in one spot, one consecutive spot. For now, they've just been uploaded to the YouTube, or the other YouTube channel, because that's where I upload all my streams when I'm done with them, so it's just part of the process for me. I fixed my last issue of flipping the throw victim. I was calling force flip instead of simple setting can flip the trigger. Got you. Yeah, got you. Sometimes it can get you, you know? It takes 1-2 little things, and they can throw off your project for a week. Literally. We have bugs at work that, you know, sometimes take like a week to fix. It's like, oh yeah, in this one file, this one specific line, we changed the sign to be like greater than or equal to instead of greater than, and it just made all the difference, you know? But good work. Really good work solving your issue. Everglades, thank you. Seriously. I take your input to heart, I guess is the right word. I'm considering that, and I just want to say that I think I agree with you. I think you got some good ideas there. But I think the algorithm will be okay based on how it did. So I will continue to watch it. You know, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I'm not trying to fool anybody. So obviously I do the YouTube tutorials because I have fun and I like doing them. At the same time, they are a lot of work. So yes, I would not want to hurt the algorithm, hurt the actual videos that I'm putting out just to do a live stream on YouTube. So if it does start to affect it, I will absolutely change. But as of now, I think it's okay. I really do. I appreciate you looking out for me. I don't mean to keep repeating it. Just, it really stood out. I appreciated that. All right. So we did the HUD, which is one thing I wanted to do. We did the character, what did I call it? Character modifiers. We did that. That's more just the changes to the actual character itself. We didn't really cover anything this episode in it, but honestly, we did it. I mean, we can look at it if we have time after this. I think the important part is to make sort of these puzzle mechanics that that I was kind of covering. Flipping comes regularly on event tick, and that was causing async between flipping and anim blending, and it was blending ugly there. Yeah, so that is an issue with it doing it on tick. However, you have the right idea. Having that force flip, because you kind of want them to flip as soon as the one's over the other, you could wait until the one lands like we do on jumping, and of course you know this because you're doing it on throwing. And that was my intention, so I'm glad that that ended up panning out. But yes, I get it is a pain in the butt to deal with certain animations, and I apologize. I don't really know a better way to do it, because the reason it's done on tick is you have to know when they swap places. I don't know a great way of sending an event when they swap a place when not checking on tick. I mean, you could check on the move, but the move actually, like if you do it on the input axis, that actually gets called every frame anyway. So I think it's kind of something that has to be on tick. Doesn't have to be. I think by far it would be the neatest, the cleanest, and the easiest. Okay, at this point, I think we are going to work on puzzle mechanics. So I don't want to go into like this elaborate puzzle, this specific thing. What I really meant by puzzle mechanics is like just a specific mechanic that we want to use to like maybe open a door. Maybe we want to open a door and by stepping on some plate or something. Because that I think is very side-scroller-esque. Like it has a bit of puzzle to it. You need to do this to do this action. And it will kind of get the part out of the way where we can figure out these relationships between these objects. The button and the door are related in this case. Okay, let's do it. I don't see why we can't knock that out by the end of the stream. We still have a little under 45 minutes, and I should have enough energy to keep it going until then. Okay, blueprints. Let's do it. So we want... I'm going to move these a little bit closer. I'm going to need to make a custom level or just make this a little bit bigger soon. This is a little bit in my face at the moment. There we go. That should be easy enough. So we'll put the door like over here toward the wall. That way we can get through. Good event tick, no problem. But that was the right way to make force flip function. Yeah, no, I got you. I think you handled it perfectly. I think that's the best way to do it. Honestly, that you can do it. I can't really think of a better way to do it myself. Also, I found out I have more water in here, which is good because my throat has been dry. Life is good, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. First things first, let's go ahead and make the blueprint class we want. In this case, let's do a door. Really, I typed in door. I am tired. We want to do a U object. No, not a U object. We want to do an actor. And we'll call this door BP. Probably don't need base door BP, but you could do base interactable object BP if you want to do more than that. Now, I don't know if you get a door by default. You get some stuff like benches and stuff and starter content, we might actually get a door by default. If not, we'll use something as an example. We do, SM door. There we go. That's what I'm talking about right there. So now we can bring this into the scene, and it's kind of facing the wrong way. In fact, I'm actually going to change it before we bring it, otherwise we're going to have to change them all. So rotation is 90, I think. Yep. So where are you placed? You were placed at 1200 on the X. So you're going to be placed at 1200 on the X. Wait. It was on 1200 already? I got it perfect. I think it snapped for me. Of course, it was the best people. I will say, to give you credit where credit is due, you were moving through the series. And not only that, but you are making your own animations. Which, hey, that is not a fun job. Not only is that not a fun job, my friend, but that is not easy. Okay? So, credit where credit is due. You're well on your way. I really mean that. I am very, very happy with what you're doing. Yeah, see, this isn't even in the right spot. You can tell that it's over. The origin is at 1200, but let's move that a little bit. Okay. Now, does this mesh just not block? Is it not set to block? Block all dynamic. Yeah? Block all dynamic? It looked like you were blocking me there, didn't it? What the? Okay. Block all? Dynamic, ignore pawn. I mean, we can add a collider and just force it, but why? What am I missing here? I've become doorman. Okay, alright. I guess. Alright, let's do it. Sorry, I don't know. Basically, we want our mesh here, and we want a... We can do actually just a... We could really just do a plane. I'm going to do a cube to give us the character a little bit of room. So the door itself. What about there? And then scale. There we go. Something like that is good enough. Now this cube needs to be invisible. language as far as making a 2D fighting game would be C++. To be quite honest, not just because Unreal uses it. You might not want to use Unreal. The main reason I can think of is if you want to play with memory, like, so for example, if you need a lot of hitboxes at once, a lot of collision checks at once, and especially if you want multiplayer, online multiplayer, you're going to need fast reaction times. The easiest by far would be C++. It is possible to do it in other languages. I've seen it done in C#. I've even seen a fighting game in Java. So if you... I mean, you said you're numb at coding. That's perfectly fine. You're not completely new to coding, or are you? Because if you are completely new and you're trying to get started, you may want to watch some C++ tutorials and make sure that you're comfortable with it. For me, I was not taught C++ right away. If I was, I'd probably be very confused with it. It's not an insult toward you or anybody. I would not have learned it very well the first time around. I actually struggled with it still learning it. It's not an easy language to learn. So, yeah, I would say that. I do like your name is Good Gaming God, which is GGG. That is some good alliteration for real. It does roll off the tongue. So that would be my honest opinion. Thank you, and yeah, time flies. When we first talked, I was afraid to even look at ZBrush. Now I use it. Yeah, right? I totally get that, though. I can't use Maya at all. I mean, I can, but I'm terrible at it. I get intimidated by it very easily. No problem. No problem, Good Gaming God. If you have any specific questions, feel free to ask me. I'm not sure if you're coming over from the YouTube channel and just checking out the live stream, or if you're just checking out the live stream and you're not familiar with my channel. I actually do have a 2D fighting game tutorial series in Unreal and C++ if you're interested in checking it out. I'm not trying to force anything upon you, like, oh yeah, go check out my video, but if you're not familiar with that and you happen to just be here because of the live stream, then feel free to check that out. I can get you the playlist if you're interested. Excuse me, the cube collider should be a child component of the door to be bound to it and rotate with it. Well, the cube component that I made there is actually going to be the interaction box. It doesn't need to adjust with the door in this case. It's just going to kind of interact whenever we're near the door. But what we do want is this plane. I'm going to make this a child of the... I actually accidentally made a child of the interaction box. I want this to be a child of the door so that when the door moves, it keeps its collider on it. Something like this. That pixel difference is too much, in my opinion. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Am I an idiot? I mean, I know I am. I guess moving on that is just fine. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. David said he's checking it out on Discord. He says hi to everyone. I think a lot of you are familiar with David from Twitch, but if you're not, just some random guy. Just, you know, just some random guy saying hi. Alright, we got our plane here. Dynamic should follow. This should be good, I think. Oops. Yeah, there we go. So now we have our box that collides with it. We also have collision on this object. So we can block characters out by doing this. Also stand on the door if we are really, you know, really getting into it. Or I can also just levitate above the door. So I just want to make sure that was good. Now that that's good, we can go ahead and work on opening this. Actually making it open. Did I say that? Did I say opening? I don't know. I'm tired. I apologize. I feel very bad. We can make a custom event called, like, literally open door. You can also make a function if you want. And in this case, we want to take the static mesh. And we want to actually rotate it. You can do it over time with a sequence and make it look nicer, but for now let's just rotate it to make sure we can get the logic working. So everything's set. No, they don't have set actor rotation for this. It's just set. I forget which one is the best one out of these because they all have, they're all kind of used for different things. I think the relative rotation will work fine. No. We want the world rotation because... Oh no, we do want the relative rotation because we're going off the parent object. I think on that case, the relative rotation that we wanted would be on the X, no, on the Z. So if we give it 90. Okay, I'm here now, just end the stream. Well, I appreciate you coming by, my friend. I'm sorry that I was not able to be there. Oh, guys, I'm an idiot. I am off today. Let's go ahead and call open door. And there we go. Now that we have open door, we can just test it and make sure this actually sets the rotation. Interesting. I may need to do world rotation. I do, okay. Either I screwed that up, which is very possible. Oh, it could also be getting blocked. Seeing my dad will have the stream. I appreciate that. You're good. We're having fun here. What? Oh. What am I missing here? Set world rotation. I'm not supposed to be updating it on the Z. I'm pretty sure the Z is the right axis in this case. Oh! So why can't I update the static mesh? Usually that works. I don't usually have to update the actor. The door, for some reason, is not liking me today. That's my fault. I guess I should have been more prepared for that. I apologize. I take responsibility for that. But there we go. You get my point. Without even forcing it, you can see how we can open a door. And now that the collider that blocks us is set on the door is out of my way now, and thus I can go in and out of it. Now, if you want to open it by walking into it, you're going to need to have the physics on it so it can simulate all that collision while you're colliding with it to open it. I don't need that for any reason. We can do in and out. We can do, you have to step on something to trigger it. Either way. So yeah, I think the easiest way. This is the last thing I wanted to do for today's episode, and I think we can finish it within the next 26 minutes. So this one's kind of an obscure one, but I want to have like a platform on the ground that once you step on it, then it triggers the door to open, actually, instead of running into the door. So this is kind of like a metal door, an iron door in Minecraft, something like that. Let's do that. This is our enemy. He's still kind of being a pain in the butt. Like, you don't need to really be in my way, do you? And jump over them both. I can. It's a pretty steep jump. Oh, I guess I don't have to jump over them. I can just kill him. Okay, but anyway, so now we have this working, which is good. Let's make a new object called, like, floor button PP. Should be good enough. And this logic is quite simple as well. None of the stuff we're doing here is particularly hard. We're just playing around, having a fun time with it. Let's add a little cube. Well, actually, let's add like a plane. Yeah, you can't ever make a plane bigger, which makes sense. You shouldn't be able to, but I thought maybe I could trick it. Let's add a cube. And we can add this, like, it can be pretty darn thin like that. This is the actual platform that we're working with. Okay, so we got this right here. And we're gonna do the same thing. We can actually do, like in this case, we don't need the cube. You guys were watching me do the cube. You can do something called this collision component here. Now the only thing is you can't visualize these collision components without visualizing the lines. So if you wanted to just look at the shape or the the size of an object, you can't really do that without going through a few extra steps. But they are a little bit better than having like an actual mesh used for it. In this case, we can go ahead and just use this. This should work just fine. So this is going to be, we're just going to call this static mesh, because that's really what this is going to be used for. This box collision here. Box collider is going to be what's used to check for if we're stepping on it. And we could specifically check if we're stepping on it by, checking the collider on our feet, but it's not really necessary in my opinion. Just as long as we're overlapping with this, it should work. Now, as far as the box collider goes, we'll make it a little bit bigger. Just like that. And now, we are here. One thing we can do is bring this into the scene. It should be at 1200. And all I gotta make sure is that we can actually step on it. We can step up on it and just walk on it in general. This box collider will be overlap all by default, because that's what box colliders are, which generate overlap events. And since it is on that, we should get an event when we overlap with it. And then we can open the door. We can call the door function. Now, the way we know about opening the door, we're going to have to grab a reference to it. There's a few ways we can do this. The easiest of which, if we're talking about a specific level, like here how we're using the level design, implement the moving platforms which can move the player on it. Any game, any genre, or sorry, any 2D platform genre has, absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun. We can do that. Then may have to wait till next week's episode, next Friday, just because I am very tired, so I'll probably wrap up after this. Depending, if we finish it here and have like 15 minutes, I might work on it now. But absolutely, that sounds fun. We can definitely do that. What we can do in the floor blueprint is to actually have an object that it relates to. Like this is a button, right? This is a floor floor button. So we can go like object. We can literally call object reference, or we can say like I can call it affected object, which actually I think would be right, but that's not even really right though. More like linked object, I think is a good word. That way we know what object this is linked to. We want to make this a basically whatever our base interactable object is. In this case specifically, I'm going to just make it the door. We can upgrade it next time to be a base class for something if we have more of these. But I can make it a door for now. And what you can actually do, this is a cool thing, you can expose, when you're working with level design, this doesn't come in handy too much when you don't need a level design, but when you do, you can actually expose objects so that they can be edited in, you know, every instance of themselves. And essentially what I mean by that is like, okay, so if we go into this guy right here. Now, somewhere on him, and it might be on his default scene root or his box collider or whatever, but we should have the ability to, yep, set a linked object. And since this is very a level dependent thing, you know, different buttons may want to work with different doors and things like that, you might want to select a specific instance in the level. You can actually choose the drop down and find the one, or you can actually eyedrop and pick the actor from the scene, and it will go ahead and pick that. So this button, this floor button, is now linked to this door, and now that variable is set. What we can do is when we overlap with the button, and hopefully we can do it from just this box collider, hopefully it will work as conveniently. We check if the overlapping actor, or you can check, I was going to say we can check if it's the character, but we could also just check if it's a base actor so that anybody that walks over it can trigger it. That would be pretty cool. For now, we'll just check for our guy, Twitch game character. And then we will, trying to think. Yeah, we can do that. There's a few things we can do. I think as far as this goes, all we need to do is just open it, just literally trigger it. If the cast succeeds, we don't need to do anything else. So let's just stick to the basics for now. Let's go ahead and use our door, or excuse me, our linked object reference, and we will try a cast to. We can either try a cast or we can do something called get class. In this case, we'll try a cast to door BP. See if it succeeds. It's not. Or excuse me, if it succeeds, then what we can do is, you know, call an event on the door. So open door. This is always going to fail. No. There's already a door BP. Oh, I forgot that I made it specific to a door BP this time around instead of just like an actor. Here we go. And now the goal is you step on this and it opens up. And then when we get off of it, we can shut it again. Is linked object valid? So we know linked object is valid in this case because this is something we've set in the scene. The only way it would become invalid, see we assigned it here. The only way it would become invalid is if the door can get deleted at any point. So is it a good idea to check for is valid? Sure. You can absolutely check for it. Is valid is very cost efficient, and as I think I've probably said this to you before, but really if you're either not sure or there's even the slightest chance that it could go wrong, probably add is valid. It's just really worth it. In this case, I don't feel it's necessary because we did assign it here. But if the door can get destroyed, if there's breakable doors, if you are garbage collecting memory or garbage collecting data, and freeing up memory, and the door happens to get hit, then yes, it could absolutely crash. So there are things you have to look out for. And what we need is the end overlap. And I'll cast this again just to make sure it is this character, but it doesn't really matter. And we can do, we'll do a closed door as well. Yep, so let's do a closed door. And we'll set the active rotation back to 0 most likely. Pretty sure it defaults to 0. If not, we can fix it, but pretty sure this is the correct thing to do. And when we are done overlapping with the box collider, we make sure that it is that character, and then we call closed door. Now in this case, it's not really going to help because, you know, it's going to shut right away. So with us not being right next to it, open, shut, open, shut, open, shut. There you go. Now what you could do, and yeah, it's actually what I was just saying. You can actually use the sequencer here as well without doing like an actor sequence. You can just use it on a rotation and open the door up. It looks pretty good. Definitely worth it compared to just setting the actor rotation. That's more just like a temp thing. But if it isn't a skeletal mesh, yeah, it's not a skeletal. The other side, and not have to jump over. And this should work just fine, because the buttons are the ones with the door reference, not the other way around. The door does not have a button reference. There we go. So I get the door slammed in my face, and there we are. Now we have workable things we can use in the scene. We can actually like move around the world and introduce new things with that. And yeah, so that feels pretty good. We got our health working, we got our character modifiers working, we got door with some puzzle mechanics like pickups and all those working. And I think we're good for the night. I'm exhausted. I'm probably gonna go to bed here. Like, quite frankly, I'll probably get off and go to bed pretty soon. So yeah, I don't have a lot else to say. Let's see. Use retriggerable delay as you do retrigger the event. Oh, I'm actually not familiar with retriggerable delay. Let me look at that real quick. So it's a delay that continues to pop up. Uncompleted, so just like usual, length of delay. So what is this? Oh, that is cool. Good one. I have not seen that before. So if I'm understanding you correctly, and if I'm understanding this correctly, then if I step on this, step off of it, and step back on it in time, yeah, there we go. Nice. Nice. So now I can sit there and stand on it. Thanks for streaming and get some rest. You're making me debate putting on a cup of coffee. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, thanks for coming by, guys. Everyone. Good Gaming God and David and Animamundi and Everglades Snatch, and thank you guys. I mean, I love seeing you. I really appreciate it. I know I don't want to forget anyone. Mark, thank you. Guys, it makes a lot of difference when you're here. Grandma, thank you. It makes all the difference when you guys are here. I would be doing it anyway because I'm having fun, but talking to you guys makes it so much better, so thank you. I probably would have fallen asleep this time. It's not really healthy to be this tired, but it's okay because it's the weekend and I'm going to go get a break. So enjoy. If you put on that cup of coffee, enjoy. Animamundi, good idea on the retriggerable delay. That was very smart. I'm not familiar with that node. This is the first time I'm seeing it, but makes sense why you'd want to use it here. And next time we'll definitely do the moving platforms, actually. That's an excellent idea, where the character moves on it without you having to move. I think that's totally cool. I know how to do that too because I actually worked on that in Unity back in the day. Okay, guys. I'm gonna end it here and probably eat maybe and then go to bed, but I'll be wrapping up. So thanks again. One last time. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'm Shawnthebro. I'll see you in the next one. We'll be back for Dark Souls on Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be back here. We might be on YouTube again. We'll see. We might be on Twitch again. I don't know. We'll figure it out. If you want to come support me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Shawnthebro27. There's also a Shawnthebro27 YouTube channel. Either way works. You can check out all the streams. Otherwise, just check out here. I'll be uploading the live streams here. I'm just doing a few more tests with it and things like that. So, not trying to confuse you guys switching platforms all the time. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Shawnthebro. I'm going to shut up now. Have a good night, everyone. Animamundi, have a good night. Thank you for coming by. Great seeing you. Alright, see you later, guys. Have a good one.